Good evening. This is the Elliott wave update for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 for Sunday, September the 17th, 2023. Markets are kind of opening a little bit higher after Globex. I do not have much to be adding unless you have not watched the podcast that I posted yesterday. I have marked both the S&P and the NASDAQ as having completed those small, minute second waves. The sell-off on Friday, in my mind, was strong enough to kind of suggest that we are beginning to drop in the minute third wave of the minor third wave. So what is all entailed, or what I look for, or what we should all look for, is this continuation of strength to the downside. So as we begin to break below our moving averages, which, by the way, on the hourly chart, we've broken below the 50s. And you can see when that happened right here, how the market began to accelerate. Then it broke the 200s and it kept the acceleration. Had a little bounce, but then finished the day pushing lower. And a lot of that is based on breaking the moving averages on the 1 hour. The 4 hours pretty much going to give us that same thing. But now we want to take a look at the daily chart to see that right now we did close below the 50-period EMA. And that's on the daily chart. So that left it in a negative position. And now, yep, we are bouncing just ever so slightly, but you see that we're not. We may go up and test that 50-period EMA, which sits at 4509. But you're seeing that the market's not really getting a lot of oomph to kind of go up above it. And so it kind of gives, I get why not doing it right now, because we don't have enough information. There's not enough trade going on, et cetera, et cetera. And now the focus turns to Wednesday, when we will get the Fed's decision. And so we may get some sideways move, but my gut kind of tells me that we're likely still going to see some additional downside before we get a little bit stronger and sustained, like more than a few minutes, like maybe an hour or two, or maybe for the full day, bounce. And that would come in the form of another second wave. So if anything, as we begin to count this minute third wave, and what we're looking at is that it will consist of 5 waves of minuet degree. Of this possibly could just be wave 1, which puts that 2 here. But that's going on the basis then, let me just open this up so we can see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, can't tell if this fifth wave, the small fifth wave within this minuet wave 1, is complete, or is it going to extend? Now remember, we're in a third wave. We're in the 3 of 3 type of a move. So whether we get all of it coming in all at once, or it comes down in 5, bounces up, comes down again in 5, bounces up, comes down again in 5, to put in that minute third wave, or whether we're still in this first segment of it, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is just 1, 2, we get a 3 and a 4 and a 5, then we get that a little bit stronger of a move. So there might still be some leftover or some follow-through selling that we will see either when Europe opens, or when Asia opens, or combination thereof, and then again when the US opens tomorrow morning. So we're going to have to leave all that open. Right now, we can put some very, very structured, but they're going to be, there's my cursor. They're going to be just really guesstimates at this point. So if we're looking like this maybe did complete, we're looking for that too, we're just going to run some fib retracements high to low. So again, any bounce right now, we're getting stuck at the hourly 4, and then the hourly 8 sits at 0.236, and that's a 45.11. But 3A2, which would be pretty common for a wave 2, but the most common, of course, being 50 to 62%. So we could get a little bit of a move up, but and if they're waiting to see what's going to happen, And the United Auto Workers strike is still really going on. They haven't even really sat down at any negotiating table and just put stuff out there. There's been a lot of things in the press, et cetera, et cetera. So there has to be some type of a catalyst to kind of get the markets to want to bounce at all. So we may see weak moves. And the fact, if we cannot really start to move back above 45.11, my thoughts are going to be is that, well, we're still going to fulfill and do some additional downside. Downside support comes back into at that low, 44.94. Then we have it at 44.84, 44.83, and then we start to break. And then it's 44.52. There may be some additionals that we'll be able to put in some different points, but the market needs to trade out a little bit more before we can actually get those points. Eventually, of course, I'm looking for minute wave 3 to break below 44.84, which is the low right there, 44.85. That's minute wave 1 low. So I'm looking for that. If I pull this open a little bit more, we can continue to just look and see that we definitely, I'm looking for minor wave 3 to break below the bottom, the low of minor wave 1, which is basically 4,400. So we're looking for both of that. It's just to when and how it's all going to happen. That's what we're working on now. So again, quick fibs. If the market is determined to pull back a little bit after Friday's sell-off, then we have again 44.11, 44.21, 45.30, and then 45.38. So those are our resistance levels. I would not be looking for them to start taking this back and for the market just to start cruising higher. There definitely would have to be a catalyst, and I don't see that coming out unless somebody comes and says that, hey, the United States just found $10 bazillion left over from somewhere. And so all is good, all debt's been paid, and let's go running wild. So again, I don't see any particular news that's going to come out and give us a good bolster higher right now. So over in the NASDAQ, same story, getting a little bit of a bounce. And let's open that up as well. But here, a little bit cleaner, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're getting like an ABC already within there. So again, it's pretty weak. But if we're taking a look and we can put up the same, which kind of gives a little bit more strength if we feel that we've done the first 5 done on a minuet basis, and this is minuet wave 1 of minute wave 3, then we're looking for a rally. This 618 goes with that larger move down. So we probably should move that out of the way. Let me just go take it out right now so we're not getting confused by it. We'd be looking for the bounce. And right now our bounce is, if it's a small wave 2, still 50 to 62%, and that's going to take us 15,537 to 15,580. Pretty decent bounce. Got to get back above all the moving averages, but you can see the more important ones, or the more stronger moving averages, the 200, the 50, the 20. They're up above that 382 level. So resistance on any bounce. First, we're going to find it at the 4, which is where it sits right now. Then we have the 8 at 15,430. We have 15,442 as fib resistance. Then we have 382 resistance at 15,494, 95. Then we have the 20 at 15,519. Then we have 15,537, which is fib resistance. Then we have the 200. So it's all stacked. The resistance is pretty stacked. And you can just walk it up with me. That's 15,564. And then we've got the 50 EMA kind of coming down now, sitting at that same place. It's at 15,565. And then we get, the 200, the SMAs, right hugging around 0.618 resistance at 15,580. So it's pretty tight, pretty stacked with resistance. And again, markets kind of just moving a little bit around at the moment, nothing really to hang your hat on. I'm going to take a quick look at that daily so we can see the positions of the moving averages, and you can see the difference between the S&P and the NASDAQ's closed just above the daily 50. And now we're trying to trade away from it. So we're trying to trade higher to keep it in place. So again, that one is sitting at 15,378. We'll call it if it breaks 377. And we might see a little pickup to any downside pressure. Again, same deal. On the daily level, it's starting to produce a more negative picture, which it tried to close there on Friday, but managed to close just above it. So again, it's very flat. So at the moment, it's providing support. A break should open the floodgate a little bit and start bringing us down to below 15,000, actually. Our next level down in terms of support is 15,215. And then we just start to break. And we get below 15,000, actually. So not a whole lot. This is on the daily. So not a whole lot to really kind of prop it up once we start to break below these levels. Same here, we've got that 15,556. Then it breaks very quickly. We have the 15,346. So this is 356. We have 346. And then we break pretty quickly to 214, 215. Eventually, of course, I'm looking for the minute 3 to break 15,345. I'm looking for the minor 3 to break. Let me take this back out to the 4-hour to break the low of minor wave 1. My computer's being pretty slow. And that is going to be at 14,818, 819. So I'm looking for both of those to be broken as this larger pattern plays out. And that's really about it for right now. If you want more detail on the big picture update, just give a look towards the Eye of the Storm podcast that I posted yesterday. And in the meantime, let's take a quick peek. I believe we don't really have any economic numbers coming out tomorrow. Home builder confidence. Okay. Tuesday, we have housing starts. And then Wednesday is, of course, Fed day. Nothing else coming out, just the Fed. The spotlight will be on Fed Chair Powell. And he at 2:30 Eastern, he'll make his press conference. And everyone will be waiting to hear what he's got to say. And in the meantime, that's it for today. Our next update will be on Monday, September the 18th.